and salutations, my dearest friends. My name is Samantha, and today I'm going to be talking about my top 5 favorite novellas of all time. I'm really excited for this video. Hello, how are you? Welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about novellas, one of my favorite things. You guys know I've been in a reading slump recently. I just filmed a video that I will link down below where I talked about how I get out of a reading slump, and in that video I mentioned that I tend to read a lot of novellas. I love short-paced novellas. They're quick, to the point, and a lot of these are very steamy. A lot of these are by my favorite authors. Honestly, I do have some repeat authors, even though this is a top 5, but it's because I just really love the authors in the books that I'm going to be talking about, so let's just hop right on in. Oh, actually, before we start, I do have a lot of novella videos. I'm going to create a playlist on just a bunch of videos where I talked about novellas if you want even more recommendations, so I will leave that link down below. You probably have already heard about some of these novellas because I've talked about them on my channel because they're my favorites. That's the point. Okay, all right. This is a big, bold statement, but my favorite novella, top 1, number 1, tip top, creme de la creme, chef's kiss, is Go Deep by Risley Adams. This is available on Kindle Unlimited, and it is a steamy friends to lovers romance. I love this book to pieces. So this follows our heroine, who is an erotica writer, and she just went through a pretty bad breakup and is feeling no inspiration for her books, and she needs to get a little inspiration for those more steamy scenes. So she ends up propositioning her lifelong friend that she grew up with and is like, hey, can we like have a friends with benefits situation so I can have some inspiration for my books? And he agrees. They have some steamy fun times, and of course they realize the attraction they had for one another, and it follows their romance, and it is just so sweet and steamy at the same time. It is quite literally the perfect novella. Friends to lovers is my favorite trope. I love our hero in this book. He can get it anytime, any day, any day. And I'm not counting this as an extra recommendation. This is still a top 5. There is a novella to this novella of their wedding, and I will put it right here. That one is also really good, and I love it. Highly recommend. If you were to read anything from this video, read this book. All right, the next 2 are by the same author. I try not to repeat the same authors, but it was so incredibly hard. Miss Jessica Kane got 2 spots in this video. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. So my favorite Jessica Kane books are Hefty. This is a part of like her plus size hero series that she did, and I just adore it. So this is kind of like a brother's best friend trope. It follows our hero, who is a football player, and a heroine who is a cheerleader. Heroine is best friends with our hero's sister. They kind of grew up with one another and have been really close friends, but they've secretly been pining for each other. They both kind of decide that they want to explore their feelings for each other. They're both pretty inexperienced. Both of our characters are virgins in this book, and they decide that they want to experience all of those first times with each other. This is the sweetest Jessica Kane I've ever read. Like, Jessica Kane is steamy and wild and crazy, but this book is also incredibly sweet and romantic, and I just loved our hero. He's just like this soft, shy hero who's a gentle giant, and I wish Jessica Kane wrote more plus size heroes because this one is fantastic. I recommend it to everyone, and it is another friends to lovers novella. You'll find a lot of that trope in here because that is my personal favorite trope. All right, the next Jessica Kane I want to recommend is Making Their Vows. This one is very steamy. Heroine goes to like this preppy private school, and her friends stumble upon this underground fighting rink where she meets our hero. He is a boxer fighting in this underground fighting rink, and he is from like the rougher part of town. They come from completely different worlds. The second that they meet each other, there is an instant attraction, and they can't help but be drawn to each other, even though they have like so many odds set against them. They're so obsessed with each other. This is a pretty obsessive hero, but in a very sweet way, if that makes any sense. This also has a little bit of a zaddy kink in it, which, you know what, before Jessica Kane I didn't think I liked, but I think I like now. I think I like. All right, our last 2. Oh, this might have to be a top 6. This might have to be a top 6. Yeah, I think we're gonna add an extra extra recommendation. My next one is another Friends to Lovers romance, and that is Party Favors by Erin McLennan. This is a part of her So Over the Holiday series. She has a series of novellas that take place during like different holidays, Christmas, Valentine's Day, etc., etc. This one takes place during New Year's, but you can honestly read it any time of the year. It's not like that festive, if that makes sense. This one is a sapphic romance and quite possibly my favorite sapphic romance I've ever read. I recommend it to everyone. Our two heroines, they actually met online over their love of fashion and they became like online besties. They talk and text every single day, but they haven't actually met in person. So one year for New Year's, they decide that they're going to meet in person, and when they finally do meet, there is an instant attraction and connection that they didn't realize they had before, and they decide to explore that over the holiday. This one is also really fun because one of our heroines is really discovering herself and what makes her happy. She's always used to doing what her family tells her to do. During this break with her best friend and her soon-to-be girlfriend, she decides that she's going to create a bucket list of a bunch of stuff that she wants to do to make her feel more confident and happy in her life. And yeah, this one is super steamy, super sweet, and I adore it. It's definitely my favorite out of the series, but honestly I recommend the whole series. I think Erin McLennan writes some amazing novellas. The next one that I want to recommend is by Casey Mint. Casey Mint is a new novella author to me. I was recommended her books by Rachel from Rachel Reads and Sings, and I'm so grateful. I have binged almost every single one of her books that are available on Kindle Unlimited in like a month because I just adore her writing. By the way, I'm just realizing every book that I've mentioned so far is available on KU, so there you go. So yeah, Casey Mint is a little bit like Jessica Kane, where her books are wild and crazy and just over the top amazing. So my first book that I read from her actually turned out to be my favorite, and that is Thin Ice. This one is kind of like a forbidden age gap romance. Our heroine is a professional ice skater, and she ends up falling in love with our hero, who is her coach. Very steamy, very taboo. There's quite an age gap. There's a zaddy kink, and they end up forming a romance even though it's pretty forbidden. And this one, again, was the perfect balance of sweet and steamy. Highly, highly recommend. I know this was supposed to be a top 5, but there's just so many Casey Mint books that I love. It's hard to pick just one. Maybe I'll do like a dedicated Casey Mint video because literally I love all of her novellas. I've given almost every single one 5 stars. Okay, I'm gonna give an honorable mention. I couldn't keep it at just 5. So another one that I want to recommend by Casey Mint is called Big Bet. This is a part of her Big Boy series, I think it's called, which is her series of plus-size heroes, which you guys know I love. So our heroine is a kind of like a burlesque dancer, and our hero is a blackjack dealer, and they work at the same club. And our hero, again, is that stoic, grumpy, silent, thick hero that we just love, and our heroine is like this vivacious showgirl who is absolutely enamored with him, kind of like keeping their feelings a secret because they're not sure like how the other person feels, and they really start with a friendship. And again, this is a friends to lovers romance, what I'm obsessed with. So they like spend every break together at work. He walks her home. It's so sweet. And then obviously it forms into their romance, and they are equally obsessed with each other. So if you love mutual pining in romance books, this is the book for you. This is the book for you. So yeah, those are some of my favorite novella authors in general. Risley Adams, Casey Mint, Jessica Kane, Erin McLennan, like amazing, amazing novella authors. And these are my top 5 with an honorable mention that I would recommend to everyone. So it was really hard to narrow down this list because I have many. I could keep going. I could keep going. You want to see a part 2? 3, 4, 5, 6, because I probably could make that many videos. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave your recommendations down below. I would love to read them. I would love it. And as always, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. It means the world to me. I hope you guys are all staying happy and healthy, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!